Hi, it's Brandon from thirstgym.com. Today we're talking about exercise called the conventional deficit deadlift. This is an exercise used to build speed off the floor. We're going to increase the range of motion of our conventional deadlift, and by doing so, it's going to make the exercise harder. Now, the main reason you would program this exercise is leg drive off the floor, especially from a conventional stance. If you happen to see people that are like really rounded over, they don't use their legs a lot when they deadlift, they like to use their low back, and they get this kind of like cat back looking thing. Chances are they're very low back dominant. They don't have good, strong glutes and hamstrings to help them maintain position, but they may also not just have the proper leg drive. I also like this exercise for as well as if people just feel like weights are constantly stuck off the floor. It also can help address positional issues. So it is a very challenging, taxing exercise. So this is, if you're going to use this as a main movement in your training program, just understand that one, you're probably not going to get as much weight as you normally do on your conventional deadlift, and two, it's very taxing on the nervous system. It may not seem like much, but merely pulling the weight an extra inch or two makes a big difference in terms of the load you might be able to lift. What I like to do for this exercise in my facility is we use these 3/4 inch mats that we've cut up. You can also buy these on various different training facility websites and things like that. But usually we stack two of them together, and that creates about 1.5 inch deficit, which I think is perfect. If you're training in a commercial gym and you've got these flat 45-pound plates, basically if you stand on one of those, that's probably going to be enough to do what you need it to do. I would not stack two of those on top of each other because obviously they slide. So knowing safety first, that's what's awesome about the rubber mats, is you still get the same traction and stability that you need from what you're normally deadlifting on, and you don't have to worry about them moving and sliding all over the place, which is, going to keep you safe. So these work great. There's other options available. You can create the deficit really however you need to. I think going anything over 3 inches is complete overkill. I think about 2 inches is honestly probably good for most people. 2 mats happens to be 1.5 inches, and I think this just feels great. Obviously with this variation, you can set different records with different heights as well. So if I wanted to have like a 1 mat thickness, a 2 mat thickness, and a 3 mat thickness, I could have a different PR set for all of those if you happen to be a conjugate person. Otherwise, everything else is going to be the same in terms of your normal conventional deadlift. So my feet are going to be about shoulder width, give or take. Bar is going to be lined up with midfoot. I personally like putting it over the metatarsal over my big toe, so like that big knuckle of your big toe. That's where I start. That's usually about where my shoestrings are. Adjust as needed for you. Then once you're in that position, take your air up top, good strong position. Arms are going to get long. Now, because of the improved range of motion, your hip position is going to be a little bit different. So after you take your breath, you come to the ground, grab the slack, drop your hips. You're going to have to drop them more than normal, okay? Because we've got to get our arms longer essentially than normal. They're still going to be the same length, but we're going to feel like we're reaching much further than we are. So hips are going to drop down just a little bit. If they're too high, it's going to exacerbate the issue you have. So since we're trying to get that leg drive, we're going to purposely get more knee flexion so that we can use our quads a little bit and learn how to push the earth or push the ground away from us, which is how this exercise works so well for many people. So here, chest tall, big breath, get good strong, pull the slack out, and then pull the rep. Just like that, okay? So again, just like a conventional deadlift, technique stays the same. Understand hips are going to be a little lower. You really want to emphasize that chest good and tall. Push away on the floor. Meet the bar with your hips, and then you should be good. When it comes to programming an exercise like this, I think it falls in about 2 places, and that's it. The first one's going to be your max effort variation. If you're a conjugate person, this is your main exercise. I think this works great for a 1 rep max. I don't really like a whole lot of high reps with this. Because of the increased range of motion, you can actually see some issues or low back issues if you don't have proper mobility and proper positioning. So the first thing you want to address is just overall technique of your conventional deadlift and see if that can clean stuff up. If you actually have a true issue of leg drive off the floor, this may work, but if you have mobility restrictions, understand the risks that can come with an exercise like this. That's also why I believe getting too much of a deficit gets to the point where most people, unless if you're a very flexible female, just doesn't do you any good anymore, and then by the time you push, you end up getting tilted forward, and you see that all the time as well. The other place would be a supplemental exercise, and when I say this, as I mentioned, I don't like reps. Doing sets of about 3 to 5 can be great. However, you want to keep your RPE down, okay? In this case, you would be using this as a positioning tool, so you've got to maintain position the whole time for it to actually work and do what you need it to do. So an RPE of about 6 to 7.5 is about as most I would go in terms of using this as a supplemental based movement, because you're not going to have maximum loads. You're going to get heavy enough to where it challenges you, but you should be able to maintain that position throughout the training cycle, or throughout the day. Anything else other than that, I think trying to do like high reps, something like this, not an intelligent idea. You're just putting yourself at risk that you don't need to be. Address your technique, and then use this to attack the weak points as needed. And again, whether that be your max effort variation, where you just take that one good single, trying to maintain good technique the best you can, or use it as a supplemental exercise to really hammer technique and make sure your reps look clean, crisp, and perfect and clean, and you should be good. Got any questions? Leave them in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.